guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. I've had a little bit of I've slowed down a little bit with my posting. I was aiming to do one video / podcast per week, but I've just been trying to get my life together and going through some major changes. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Cassie Amber and I'm going to talk about how to protect your mental health on social media. That's quite a popular topic because there's lots of problems around it. It can be very demonized, but I've found I've always used it in a very positive way and it's really benefited my life and it's not going away anytime soon. So I want to give you some of my best tips and tricks on how to use it in the right way and make it a more positive space. I am a plant-based holistic nutritionist. I'm a fitness model / bodybuilder. I work with health brands regularly, I guess doing influencing, if you like to call it that. It's got such a negative connotation to it. So I've seen both ends of the spectrum because I'm in the game as well. So yeah, if you enjoy videos about health and wellness and nutrition, lifestyle and business, then hit subscribe and don't forget to follow me on Instagram at CassieAmber with 2 underscores. Social media is known for exposure to bullying and it also allows the bullies to hide behind a screen. So a lot of the time you wouldn't say that stuff to someone in front of their face, but it's so easy to just type something horrible, which is why we get such an influx of negative comments. It can make people scared to post in the first place. Even for me, sometimes I put up workout videos on my story. I'm not a personal trainer. I work out for fun and I do bodybuilding, but it's still like I specialize in food and nutrition. I'm not the fitness expert. So I think, oh my God, if I upload this, are they gonna complain to me because I'm not wearing the right lifting shoes? Or like, oh my God, what if my form is wrong for this thing? And it can kind of like hinder you a bit, always wondering what other people will think. It's common to compare yourself to other people, have unrealistic views of other people's lifestyle as well as the world. There's pressure to adhere to trends, especially in fashion and like always needing to have the latest products. It gives you a dopamine hit when you post a photo and you get all this influx of likes and comments and messages, and that can also change the way we post because we're not posting what we want to post, we post what's going to get the likes and what our audience wants. So there can be a bit of a barrier there as well. And it can be easy to tie our worth to the amount of followers we have and how many likes we get on a post, because that means if we don't get any response from people, then our post isn't good, and that means that our creative flow isn't good, and we can tie it a lot back to our self-worth as well. I have been criticized before by someone for being a fake social media girl with an unattainable lifestyle, and I was really shocked because I feel like I show a lot of raw moments, probably more than the average person. Even last weekend I was trying to move house. I had a very stressful time at this property, a lovely time, but lots of stressful things had happened as well. Lots of different car issues, thousands and thousands of dollars spent on car repairs, my whole car just blowing a piston and blowing up, new car, tried to move house, like my partner's car broke on the driveway, so I had to go pick him up so that he could come over on my final night at the house. And then I couldn't get up because the car couldn't get enough power and the gravel is like this big, and then like the whole car slid down the drive and went into a ditch, and it was literally 11:30 at night. I had everything I owned in there, tried to get the person who owns the property to tow me out. We all had this big argument. It was just an absolute nightmare, and I actually decided to share that stuff because I just like to keep it real, and I don't want people to look at my lifestyle and be like, oh my God, she's got such a perfect life. I talk quite openly that I was in quite an emotionally abusive relationship for almost 3 or 4 years, and I'm still recovering from that to this day, like issues around my self-worth, feeling threatened by other girls, just like when you have experience narcissistic abuse, you second guess your own reality. It's like it actually takes quite a toll on your mental health and like how you view the world and how you view yourself, and it's like quite a long recovery process. So I always like to show stuff like that I'm going through, not like, oh my god, my life is so horrible, look what's happening to me. Like, I want people to know, hey, like, this stuff happens to me too, and I have quite a lot of drama that I go through, quite a lot of changes, so that if someone has a fight with their partner or they have to move out of their house, they don't feel like the only one. They know that, like, it happens to all of us, even if we are like an influencer that seems like we have the perfect life. So I always do my best to show both sides and just put in like little snippets of real life things as well. So yeah, I was quite shocked when I was told in the past that I'm like a fake social media girl and promote unattainable lifestyle, blah blah blah. I do try to upload raw images as well. Like, even now, like, I'm not even wearing makeup, I'm just wearing tinted moisturizer and mascara, so I'm not always trying to do like heavily filtered stuff or like always done up, blah blah blah. So I do try to promote balance. One of my first tips I can give you is to fill your feed with diversity. I obviously follow lots of bodybuilders and extremely fit, ripped, muscly women. So that's what I'm aspiring towards, but I do also follow some people who have body positivity accounts. They have amazing personalities that just draw you in, and they give you such good content, and brands are really starting to become more aware of this now as well. There's a different one called Lounge Underwear, and they're like always promoting people of color, people with different body shapes. And Lauren Simpson, one of my business idols, I notice in her marketing adverts, she always has like women with slightly different bodies. Like, one, she'll have her who's like super fit and slim, and then she'll have a woman with like a more curvier body, and then also promoting different color skin as well. So people are really starting to go forward with that. And if brands aren't keeping up with all diverse acceptance, then they're gonna get left behind. Realize that people only post their best photos, and they may spend a while trying to capture the perfect shot. Photos can look good depending on lighting and angles. Like, I can take a photo in full like beaming sunlight with no proper like lighting and shadows and just look completely flat and like just not like what I thought I would look like. But if you do it in the morning, because I've got experience doing photo shoots and stuff, like sunrise shoots, sunset shoots, just because it's not such a harsh light, and especially even like doing studio shoots, the placement of the lights can change the whole entire look of your body. So I can see that because I've got experience in that industry. But for someone who's maybe never done a photo shoot, you just think that the person looks like that on the street, but that's not necessarily the case. I think it's a good idea to perhaps unfollow people that you find have unrealistic beauty standards. Maybe that's people who have got lots of work done if you don't aspire to look like that. Like, a lot of the girls I follow have had some things done, and like, not to say that I might get Botox or something in the future, I don't know, but I don't follow accounts where the girls have had like extreme work to the point it's like nowhere near natural looking anymore, and it's like really over the top, because I don't want to feel pressured to have to do that. So most of these girls have had stuff done, which is absolutely fine, but it's like finding the right balance and like looking up to people who people who inspire you, not people who make you feel like you're not enough. I don't like to follow too many people who are too heavily airbrushed as well. Like, it makes the photo just like look blurry. Some people just do it way over the top. You can use social media as a place to get some amazing inspiration. Take like home decor, different recipes, different fitness tips and workouts. The diet culture scene is interesting because you've got to be careful who you get your information from. I am a nutritionist, so I do contribute to the amount of information being put in there, but don't just follow like some skinny girl who's promoting this magic breakfast that'll make you lose all this weight. Like, follow dietitians, people who you look up to, people even in the niche of eating that you want to follow. Like, for me, that's plant-based, or that could just be like Mediterranean style eating, or just like all balance and everything available and intuitive eating style kind of thing. So nothing off limits. So just choose the people wisely who you look up to for nutrition advice. You can follow some amazing career and business people as well. There's so many business sites, and like even this other account called Boss Babe that I follow, they interview some really successful businesswomen, and like there's so much valuable information you can get off there. And so many fashion accounts as well. I'm not really into fashion, I just wear gym clothes every day, but for people who are, it can be a great source of inspiration. I actually made my whole vision board for the year based off my Instagram saved folder. Number 6, make new friends and hype each other up. You can tell how comfortable you are as a person based on the type of comments that you're leaving on other people's accounts. That shows your security. If you look at a beautiful photo of this hot woman and you're like, oh my god, her hair is amazing, I love her outfit, like she's just looking like she's killing it in life, tell them. But if the feelings you feel are like, oh my god, look at such and such, and you start pulling her apart and making jokes about it and laughing about different things and ripping her to shreds in your own mind, it shows more about you as a person than them. I think social media can be a positive place because you can leave positive comments on people's feeds and it makes you feel really nice that you can make someone's day. Use it as a place to have great conversations, challenge your perspective, learn and get education. I had this interesting thing pop up the other day. I saw this really good YouTube video that was talking about death of the tomboy, and I found it so interesting because of all the surge in transgender stuff coming up, and I really liked her point because it was more saying like if you're a girl and you dress like a boy, or maybe you don't want to wear dresses, you just like dress like a tomboy, which was a well-known thing back in the day, and you play with different toys and you want to hang out with the boys and not do so many girly things, that was just classed as a tomboy. But now it's like everyone's questioning your gender, and she was like referring to celebrities, if their daughter dresses kind of tomboy for a day, it's like all in the magazines and stuff, and it's more, she was more touching on, can't we just like do what we want without being questioned. So I thought the video was very interesting and I shared it to my story, but I had someone come to me and they were very offended, and I'm very proud of myself because the old me would have told them like, well, if you don't want to see what's on my feed, then F off, and I would have blocked them, and I would have like not even taken the time to listen to what they had to say. But we actually went back and forth and had a nice adult conversation, and she kind of learned where I was coming from, and then she pointed out the way I worded it, why that was offensive, and she taught me some stuff about the transgender community and actually some of the serious stuff that's going on that I actually had no idea about. So that was actually a really good learning experience. And I had something on my vision board that said, you don't have the business you want because you haven't become the person to run it yet. And I can kind of relate that to social media. You can't have this huge following if you can't handle one negative comment or one maybe not so positive interaction with someone. But we had a very mature talk about it, and we both learnt things from each other's sides. And I think that people can definitely take that advice and experience that I had and apply it to different things that they may be experiencing on social media. If someone's coming up with them with something, or maybe they say something offensive that they didn't mean in that way, you can always talk about things. So even if someone puts out misinformation that they thought was true or something, like you can have adult conversations without criticizing each other or calling each other names or having it turn into this big fight and blocking each other, as long as each party is mature. So that was a really good moment for me, and I'm so proud that I've grown as a person and can listen to another person's point of view and take on board their constructive criticisms and things like that. And it really made me think about that whole world. If I'm trying to say as well that girls can do what they want, because I feel quite masculine. She ended up telling me that I'm a good role model, and good role model for vegan, like in the vegan industry, and to show that women can be muscly, blah blah blah, because I feel quite masculine, especially with the way I dress. I listen to heavy bass music and lift weights. Business is also operating in a masculine energy, so I just feel like actually a boy a lot of the time. But if I'm saying that girls should be able to dress as both, then it made me realize, wow, last time I saw men wear high heels, it was also an eye-opening thing, because that's the way the world is going. It was at this conference thing called Sexpo, and there was like these men dancing on stage and in high heels, and I guess I was brought up in a very traditional thing that was not accepting of that. But if I'm here trying to say also girls can dress as girls or boys, then of course boys can do the same, because that's only fair. So it's just been like a really big eye-opening thing, and really trying to grow as a person and accept everyone for whatever they want to do. So social media can be really good to see other people's point of view and challenge your perspective. Can be hard because you always see stuff come up on your feed that adhere to your current beliefs. Like I follow all these different plant-based accounts, blah blah blah, so you're like always seeing the same stuff that makes you feel like your beliefs are definitely the right way. But there's so many different beliefs out there about different religions and things like that, so it's really interesting to be able to talk to people and get in the comment section and like just have conversations and just learn things and challenge yourself. Number 8 is build up your real life as well. When this girl criticized me for having this fake social media life, I was like, I actually have made a lot of friends off social media, but it is because I take the time to say, hey, let's actually meet up for a coffee, or even if they're overseas or something. Like there's this girl in America who I'd love to meet one day once I finally get over there, and it's about making those real connections and actually going to hang out with the people you're getting along with. So meet in person, go on adventures and make some memories. Social media inspires me to go and do cool things, especially if I'm going to do like a daily vlog or something. It's not to me like showing off, like look how good my life is, and of course you're gonna do a vlog on a day you've got interesting stuff on, not just like sitting in front of your computer the whole day. But it really makes you step back and think about what makes little moments special, like when you make your morning coffee. How cool is that to have your morning coffee, and when you make a meal and you put extra love into it and decorate it all pretty because you're making a vlog, but you're actually doing that for you, and it just makes you appreciate those little moments more. And making content like that is also really cool to look back on, especially if it's YouTube videos or daily vlogs. It takes you back to a time in your life where it's like actually recorded, and you can watch it again in the future and remember what it was like. Social media gives us the ability to touch on important worldly issues. Lots of people share about their different autoimmune conditions, their struggles to conceive and have a baby. I also learned about the real side effects of the contraceptive pill from health coaches on social media. This is not just like influencers, this is like proper dietitians and people actually qualified to be in the space. I never learned about that stuff from my doctor. I never learned that it depletes certain nutrients. I never knew that it even shuts off your real cycle. So this wasn't until probably 2021, only last year. So I would have been like 24, and I'd been on it for like almost 10 years, and I didn't even know the real side effects until I started seeing all this stuff pop up on social media, and that made me second guess actually what I've been doing to my body this whole time. So since then, I've gone to some conferences I went to this conference by Dr. Libby, and she was saying how she said something like it takes 12 years for your cycle to mature. So if you got your period and then went on the pill at age 15 and then come off at 25, say, your cycle isn't going to mature for 15 years starting from that point. So until you're like 40. So that is really, really eye-opening. So you can honestly learn so much from social media. There is so much content out there that improves other people's lives. There's another girl I follow, she does posts on fashion for women with bigger busts. That's such a cool, unique niche that I'm sure so many women find helpful. And again, with the body positivity and the meal ideas and things like that, it's such a source of inspiration, and it's not all doom and gloom. Number 12, the world is at the touch of a finger. This is a massive opportunity for small business owners or any business. You can advertise to the world for free. Imagine back in the day when you had to like go around and knock on people's doors and you're only limited to your little community, your neighborhood or town. We can advertise for free. So that is just something in itself. The world is at our fingertips. We can reach pretty much anyone that we want to reach, and it should be viewed as a source of abundance and creativity. Number 13 is my personal advice to you is that you don't need to fit in. All these girls, like, even something that I can relate to myself, everyone has like microbladed eyebrows, and I actually don't do anything to mine. I don't pluck my eyebrows. This is just how they are. And then sometimes I just wonder, I'm like, oh my god, do I need to get my eyebrows microbladed because do the shape of mine look weird because it doesn't look exactly the same as every other girl's eyebrows on the internet? Or, I don't know, you can relate to this in your own way. Like, everyone will have this certain thing and then you don't. You're like, oh my god, do I have to go get this done? Am I going to look out of place if I don't have it? But you don't have to fit into the beauty standards or trends. You can look however you want to look, decorate yourself however you want to, have whatever hair, makeup, clothes you want. You can go all out, you can be minimalistic. Decorate yourself how you want. You don't have to fit in. And last but not least, I just wanted to talk about some of my struggles, because even though I've listed this huge list of amazing things, I like really look at social media as a huge opportunity and a way to really improve your life and meet amazing people, make connections, grow your business. Like, it's such a different world that we live in today. But some of the things that I have struggled with, comparing myself to successful influencers with aesthetically pleasing homes when I haven't even had a home. When I was leaving my relationship, I had nothing. I was living in Rockhampton and this girl took me in, and it ended up turning sour at that house as well. I was probably only there for a month. It was in the ghetto, and I only use that word because she joked about that to me, but also my dog got stolen for 2 nights. There was all these people like yelling outside on the streets. I had no window, fan or air conditioning because on the outside of the window there was like downward slats, so no airflow could get in. There was no fan. I couldn't afford one of those air conditioners, and that's when they were having major floods in the Gold Coast area. So in Rockhampton, where it's like extremely hot, I actually ended up having a panic attack because it felt like there was water in the oxygen. I slept with a wet towel as my blanket and woke up covered in a rash. Like, I had nothing. It was like the lowest of the low, and yeah, I was trying to like get over my relationship and figure out what I'm going to do with my life. Can I move to Gold Coast with nothing to my name and no job? How do I get a bond? Like, I made it work in an insane way. That girl ended up kicking me out at 9 p.m. because I gave her too much anxiety apparently, and she didn't like coming home to me. And I just had like some red wine. I was ready to hop into bed, and then I had to pack up everything I owned into my little 4-door car, including my Great Dane dog. I went to my colleague's house, so I was then homeless for a week and a half before I moved here. And not like I wasn't homeless on the street, like I'm not trying to dramatize it, but like having everything you own in your car with a Great Dane, not an easy time. And I started pulling everything out so I could start washing my clothes, and my whole suitcase was full of cat pee from the last house, and I literally had nothing. And then I had to leave her house because her daughter was coming home and go to my friend's mum's house, who I didn't even know, and just keep working double shifts while my dog was just like tied up so that I could get enough money to get here. That was like one of the lowest points in my life. When I was in my relationship, I also got kicked out in the middle of the pandemic because I was stressed out about my food truck and he couldn't handle it, and the borders to New Zealand were closed. I had nothing. I didn't have a car. I had no friends at that point. It took me 11 months to make friends in a new country. Then next thing, I'm kicked out. So I had to go, I'm not even gonna, it's just like one thing after another basically. So back to the point anyway. When I'm in those times and I feel like I have nothing, I haven't even had a safe room to relax in. I'm like, how are these influencers doing it? I need a house again, like very, very soon. Otherwise, I don't know where I'm going to go. And there's these other influencers I look up to who are moving to the Gold Coast. They get the fanciest homes. They've got dogs as well. I'm like, how are they getting housing when we're struggling so much to get somewhere? So it does definitely get you down when you think, how do they just like move here, no issues at all? But it's because maybe they didn't share their struggles, maybe they had help, maybe they're in a better place to begin with. But it does definitely play on your mind when they have things that you don't, and you just wonder why you can't reach their level. Even the last house I was living in, I couldn't even film my content because in my room you could like hear people talking in the kitchen, like blah, 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 back and forth, and then you can hear like dishes coming down, and then when someone would walk through the house, it's like, I don't know if it's the style of house or what, but it was like stomping and vibrating the whole walls, like duff outside, talking, dishes clanging, and it's like, how am I meant to film YouTube videos? And I have a podcast. I'm trying to record my Back to Your Roots course. Like, I didn't even release any programs for like, I think I lived there for like 8 months or something like that. I didn't release any new stuff for my clients or ways to work with people because I couldn't find peace and quiet to record or like have proper backgrounds or lighting and stuff like that, but more so just the peace. And I'm like, how do all these YouTubers, they just have like a quiet room that's like luxury, but you just forget how like when you have that, you just forget how lucky you are. So yes, sometimes I do wonder how those people, they've got the relationship, they've got the body, they've got the business success, they've got the house, they've got the friends, the overall lifestyle. It does sometimes play on my mind, but I try to use it instead of crying about my own life or criticizing them, because people always try to pull you down when you become successful. I try to use them as a source of inspiration and take what I can get from their mindset and their hard work and dedication and see how I can apply that to my own life, and realize that we're all at different parts of our journey. Like, I'll be going through all this stuff now, but then in the next stage, that's going to be absolutely beautiful. Next year is going to be such an incredible year, and there's still going to be challenges, but we all go through different things at different times, like buying houses, marriage, kids, starting businesses, losing things. Like, it's just, we're all on a different journey, going at different rates, so you can't compare how you are right now to the person next to you. And just continue to post content that's authentic to you. Even though I post heaps of plant-based stuff, people probably think it's too much, or probably think I'm really intense, or people always like will maybe think I think I'm better than them because I eat this certain way or something. But that content is what is meaningful to me, so I'm going to post what makes me stand out instead of trying to do the same exact thing as every single other person. So remember that people only see what they want you to see, and we all have our own struggles. I hope you found this video helpful. Maybe make a list of some of the top points that you took from this, like especially with lighting, posing, angles, who you follow. Go through and like cull down your social media feed so that it's a really inspiring place. You can even set time limits on things, like set an alert, like you can only go on for like 1 hour a day. It's a bit different for me because I do it for work. It takes me ages to make a reel and stuff like that, but you can set boundaries around it, like no social media after a certain time of night. And especially if you're out and about and hanging out with your friends, like really try to be in the moment and really make an effort to be present. So take what you can, think about what your favorite tips were. I would love to know in the comments section, and if you're listening on the podcast, I would love if you left me a review, and don't forget to subscribe for future updates as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate your time.